Hey guys, Cyborg here. Going to talk a little bit about fodder today. But first, I'm going to apologize for the audio. I don't have enough room to set up my $1,000 mixer and use proper mics, so just using the iPad microphone today here. Just you know, want to get the info about how I do my thing here out. Have a little bit of an example. I know I've talked about it a little bit in chat, but I can kind of elaborate more here. So what I do every day is I buy purple units from the mystery shop. Also, what you get from the train, uh, if you pull on the train. I know people that don't. They just save their tickets up. That's another way to go. But if you're building a bunch of units, I suggest doing it this way, because then you can just constantly build up fodder and have it when you need it. Um,
Do you need a pet sitter? No.
so you get eight
Do you
eight of
need a
these
fighter?
of each, the same ones, and that's what it takes to combine into a 5 star.
Do you need a fighter to collect protection fees on Star
And you
Isle?
just go through it like this. Pretty simple, straightforward. This part, just turn them into 5 stars, and then what you're doing is you're just going to use that. If you're actively building, to just cut down on the other fodder that you've pulled from various sources.
Did the tides guide me to
Um,
this very moment to meet you?
you'll get some from events. Uh, there's lots of places
My
that I get
divination
them,
foretold a
but
new friend I'd
mainly
meet today.
from the
Could it
mystery
be you?
shop and the train. As what I go after. It does eat into your gold, though. I
My
will say
divination
that.
foretold a new friend I'd meet today. Could it be you?
I kind of see gold in this game as sort of energy here. Now, there are a couple of them that you're going to need a lot more than others because they're used in making 6 stars. And if you've done any amount of starring up, you need a lot more 6 stars than anything
My
else really.
divination.
One is her, I believe, Face Age. It's one from each faction that you'll need more of. Then
Do
we
you
have
need a
him,
fighter to
Raging
collect?
Rider. And lastly, Star Warden, Mr. Robot Dude. You'll need a lot more of those than others, so just something to be aware of when you're, you know, doing your thing. Um, when you're not actively building characters, you can be a lot more strict about, using more of the combined purples, because those, you're going to need just 5 star fodder at almost every stage in the process here, until you get, past like 10 stars, and it starts getting, more
Want to
mm,
know anything about roses? I'm
more
your
intensive
go-to
on the higher
person.
star fodder. And that's exactly why I kind of use this method. It's kind of forward looking. There's the more of those combined purples that you use over time, you're just going to build up more and more of a collection of fodder. Now, you might wipe it out sometimes, like I have. I'm kind of restarting here on this, um, building Rona. And if you'll notice, I have a lot less of the blue faction here because, well, I'm not really building characters, so I've been using them for a while. So kind of trying to
Firewall North
concentrate
Purple
more on red now.
19527. Reporting in, Commander.
I've, if you notice, I've done a lot of chopping here, kind of save you guys from the dizzying effect of scrolling through my inventory.
As your devoted maid, I'll be keeping a close eye on you.
Now, it's not super important. As you can see, I'm not, don't really have a real method at this point as to um, what
Look out.
fodder I
There are eyes
use, how I
behind you.
just kind of eyeball what I have and try to not just blow through any one, character here. I'm just kind of pulling out because, as you star up, you're going to need copies of the characters. So you don't want to just go down the line when you're doing this, not like you do in the purples. Unless of course you have a ton built up, then you kind of do want to do that. It's actually kind of good when you do that. But I mean, honestly, we're all building characters kind of constantly. But there will be those lulls when you're not actively building characters, and that's when you should get a lot more strict about it. Try to just use the combined purples, combine those, use those to
I
fodderize,
see your
make
love
6 stars,
lines cross.
and then just,
I'm
use more
afraid
combined
you're
purple
destined for
5 stars,
many romantic encounters.
insert them in wherever you can, and you'll build up a good amount of fodder. Mine's been drained because I've just built 2 or 3 characters,
Relax,
up
fellas.
to
We're
11
just here for
star,
a little heist.
about to go up to 12 star on a few. Rona, I'm going to take her to 13, Awaken level 1. So it's a process. You got to be forward looking with this stuff. Um, you know, at some
If there's a
point,
fight, let me handle it.
you're going to stop getting those 15 tickets every day. Then you're going to be left with just, what you get as far as getting from the shop or commissions. This it's going to be rough.
My
They
nagging
designed it
hunter
that way
isn't your
so that
command.
you get real comfortable. If you don't see the fodder wall coming, then, oh man, I really got to build this character. What am I going to do? I'm going to buy the privileges. So, you know, if you want to avoid that fate, just either just don't build a lot of characters and save up your tickets like some people do, or
My sword will not
just
dance for a
constantly be
pointless battle.
using combined purples to just kind of cut down on how much of your pulled characters you use. And that's pretty much the gist of it. Hope it helps some people. Especially if you're new, the earlier you start doing
Wolves
this, the better.
never back down from 2 things: food and revenge.
All right, take care. Happy farming.